from the Fox 5 studios, this is the RebZone Sports Show.
Happy holidays. The Runnin' Rebels are feeling jolly, riding a 3-game win streak. One more game until Christmas break. UNLV is looking to wrap up their non-conference schedule with 4 straight dubs when they host USD on Wednesday night. Tonight, we are breaking down this week's win over Omaha with head coach Kevin Kruger and looking ahead to their final non-conference game against the Toreros. And we're sitting down with the guy who dreams about getting dunks, dreams about eating Whataburger, who dreams about the crowd going wild at his games. The junior forward from Texas, Donovan Williams, tells me he can't get enough of basketball. He loves the game so much. We'll hear more from Stretch tonight. And Coach Arroyo has signed 10 new Rebels on early signing day this week. We'll hear all about his 2022 class tonight, who his 2 local signees are, and what talent he was able to recruit in person this year. A lot to get to tonight. Let's do this thing. Welcome in, Coach Kruger. You know, it was a longer week in between games, a week, Wednesday to Wednesday, but I still feel like we were really busy this week.
Yeah, still a lot going on, but only with the one game, a little different schedule.
And you guys possibly had the chance to play another game this weekend.
We did. We were actually asked if we would be willing to fill in for the Champions Classic if they needed a team, and unfortunately there were too many moving parts, so we didn't get to partake in it, but yeah, the guys were excited. The administration was excited to have that opportunity to maybe play in T-Mobile in that Champions Classic.
Coach, with everything going on with COVID right now, are you preparing your guys for games possibly getting postponed, canceled, just getting ready for this new landscape we're facing?
Well, yeah, unfortunately, the only freshman we have is Keyshawn, as you know, so he didn't get to experience it last year. You know, it was something that everybody in the country dealt with last year, so we're just telling our guys to stay safe, be smart, and do what they need to do to try their best to avoid COVID.
All right, well, 3 wins in a row, looking for 4 this week before Christmas. Let's check out this week's game against Omaha. Bryce Hamilton, Coach Hamilton, per usual, coming out hot for the Rebels. UNLV out in front early, 13-5. Omaha's Felix Lametti lets it fly from deep. The Mavericks shot 50% from beyond the arc in the first half. Omaha trails 13-10. How about the freshman, Keyshawn Gilbert, with a steal and bounce to Hamilton, who says, oh yeah, try and stop me. It ain't happening. UNLV leads 22-14, but the Rebels give up an 11-point lead as Devin Evans ties the game up at 29. Donovan Williams, stretch, comes through from the corner, coming off a career-high 32 points last week. UNLV fighting to keep their lead, but Lametti knocks it down from deep on the buzzer. Omaha takes a 38-35 lead at halftime. Rebels not happy about that first half. Hamilton drives inside, kicks it out to Josh Baker. Money. Rebels back on top, 46-42. McCabe dribbles his way inside, back out to Hamilton from the top of the key. Hamilton racking up a game-high 26 points. UNLV leads 52-50 later in the second. Check out this big play from the sophomore Reese Brown, knocking the ball out of Nick Farinini's hand, taking it the other way. Who's there? Stretch is there. The Rebels trail 60-59. UNLV digs their heels in and keeps fighting. Williams, his second 3-ball of the night, and UNLV starts to pull away 74-66. 35 seconds left in the game. Lametti isn't done yet, knocking down his 6th 3-point basket of the night. But UNLV would go on to win 84-71, securing their 3rd straight win.
Man, it's no better feeling than winning, I'll tell you that. I mean, you'd rather not be on the other side of it. So, I mean, it's just amazing, like I said, to just be with a group of guys, to hit a little adversity, and then to come together and then just find a way to respond. I feel like we kind of like showed a lot of character. A lot of guys showed a lot of character individually and also as a team. So just to try to get this thing on the right track, especially before big Mountain West time and conference. So I think it's huge. And I think if we can go out, get this next win before this Christmas break, it'll be great for us.
I just feel like we just have to come out and be more aggressive on the defensive end. If you let teams get comfortable and get confidence, of course, they'll hit shots down the floor or down the stretch of the game. So I just feel like coming out, being more aggressive to start games will help us with that.
Well, Roy said your guys hit a little bit of adversity in that first half, trailing 38-35 at halftime. Did you like the adjustments you guys made defensively in that fight coming back?
We did, and as Bake said right there, just being more aggressive. And that doesn't just mean offensively, defensively as well, getting more on your toes and being a little more disruptive. But, we talked about making an adjustment in a timeout, and the guys talked about what they were feeling out there and what they wanted to do. And I think Reese Brown's steal and fast break was a perfect example. That was one of the adjustments the guys wanted to make, was put a little more pressure on that pick and roll, and it ended up being good for us for the remainder of that game.
Talk about the younger guys like Reese and Keyshawn being aggressive on defense for you.
Yeah, I mean, Reese and Keyshawn are two guys that go out and try to do everything they can to help, especially defensively. They know, with Donovan, Royce, Bake, Bryce, those guys offensively, their role isn't necessarily to go out and score a whole bunch of points. So they know that they can make an impact on the game defensively, and in the Omaha game, that's exactly what both of them did.
Did you want to see more of a fight from your guys just coming out at home at the Thomas & Mack?
Yeah, it would have been great, but it is what it is. And like Bake said, we were just not as aggressive as we would have liked to be. But it was a good learning opportunity. We settled for a lot of threes in the first half that weren't going in. In the second half, ended up being 4 for 10 from the 3-point line. So that just shows that the guys were a little more aggressive offensively, getting into the paint, getting more shots at the rim. And I think that's eventually what turned the tide.
All right, Coach. Well, we're sitting down with Donovan Williams next, an incredible athlete and an incredible personality as well. He told me he could have been an actor, but he chose basketball instead. We'll hear more from Stretch coming up.
You're watching the RebZone Sports Show on Fox 5.
When I first met Donovan Williams this summer, I noticed he never stopped smiling, never stopped laughing, and was just always cracking up with his best friend, Royce Ham, who he played 2 years with at Texas before transferring to UNLV. Williams scored a career-high 32 points against Hartford earlier this season and continues to flourish in his first year at UNLV. He's also very happy he got the chance to eat Whataburger this season. I'm sorry I didn't bring you any In-N-Out because, we're Team Whataburger.
But it's okay, because look, when we went to SMU, I came back with Whataburger. Like, I stashed it in
I saw that.
I stashed it in my bag, and I came back that night, and I felt like...
Did you die when you got your meal?
It was everything I had been... It was everything I had been waiting. It was everything I had hoped it would be. After, months of not having it, It wasn't like it disappointed. It lived up to the hype.
Growing up in Houston, who kind of introduced you to basketball, or how did you get started?
I think ultimately it was my dad that introduced me to basketball. Growing up, he had me in little leagues around the city, just playing, just for fun. But I think I started to take it seriously around, my sister, she was in high school at the time. And so she started to get really good, and we worked with John Lucas, who's player development for the Rockets now. But I've been with him since I was 7. So ever since then, it's been continuous like that. I think at about 7 is when I started to take basketball seriously.
Dang.
I know, right?
Child prodigy.
But I really wasn't. At the time, it was more I was playing basketball, I was playing football, I was swimming, I was running track. And it wasn't really until my 8th grade year of middle school that I really let everything else go, and I was like, okay, now I'm gonna strictly focus on basketball. But I think I give a lot of credit to John Lucas because he's been my biggest mentor in terms of getting me ready, the way I play basketball, the way I think about it, my IQ.
How were you and Royce talking to each other, or what was that conversation like when he was thinking about transferring, you're thinking about transferring? What was that like?
We just had a conversation. Me and Royce are really, really close, and it's not just a friendship that's based off basketball. It's a friendship that I know his parents. I've been to his house. He's been to my house. So we were able to have a real conversation. I know what you want. From the last, I talked to Royce and I'm I know what you've gone through the last 4 years. So I know what you're looking for. I even told Coach Chappelle that I was Coach, I can go talk to him, but I know what he's looking for. So I can tell you right now, if y'all aren't really looking to give him what he's looking for, it'll be a waste of time. So talking to him, I was just Royce, I know what you want, and I feel if we go together, we can make this thing, we can make all the things that we've been talking about for the past 2 years since I got there. We can make all those things happen. We can make it a reality. And now is it a dream come true to play with him here in Vegas? Yeah, no, absolutely. I think the thing between me and Royce is the things that we do now on the court, we've been doing for 2 years in practice though. So now it's now whenever we do it, it's like we can talk to each other and we can like, man, like people finally get to see like what we can do.
What's your why? Why are you out here? What do you do this for? You know, who's at home watching you, looking up to you?
My why, that's a good question. I think my why is just that I love the game. Like I think ultimately there are many things that I could have went into. Like I was a good actor. I used to write plays. I could have went to theater arts. I could have played other sports, but just that love of the game. Like I said, that feeling that I have when I'm on the court and the crowd is there and everything's around. Like I said, I just fell in love with becoming a better basketball player. Like I could have put this amount of energy and time and effort into anything else, and I feel like I would have been successful. But I think with basketball, it's just like I just grew to love it more than like I tell people all the time, like there's nothing on earth that I love more than playing basketball. And so now that I've been doing it for so long, that it's just like there's nothing besides maybe like a, you know, knock on wood, a career-ending injury or just something. As long as I'm able to play, like I'm just keep playing because it's fun. Like I love it. And so I think when you ask about my why is just that I love the game.
You know, non-conference is coming to an end. SDSU's January 1st. I mean, foot on the gas. I know you get to go home, get to see the family for Christmas, but just the improvements you want to see moving forward as you guys get ready for conference play.
I think the biggest thing for us is just, like I said, that cohesion and being on the same page. Because as much as we have it, that's also something that any team can get better at. And I think if we get better at that, that takes us to the next level in not just how we play, but the way in which we play. You know, I think when people watch our games, the more, you know, we gel, the more we talk, the more we kind of understand each other. I think that is the one piece that's just kind of missing. Like I think if you ever watch us on defense just a little bit, just little things like communication, transition, like those are the things to where I don't think there's any major fixes that we need to make, but I think there's little minor tweaks that we can make, and just in terms of our readiness, our discipline, our talk to each other, and not just like we don't talk to each other because we don't like each other. It's just a talk to where, you know, I gotta have my back. You know, if Royce goes to help Jordan, I gotta help Royce. Like just being as 5 people on the court and, you know, 8 people on the bench, we have to all be on a string at one time. So I think that's the biggest thing. But going into conference, I think this break that's coming up, everybody kind of needs it just a little bit. You know, we've been hitting it mad hard for months now. Yeah, since what, June, July? Yeah. So I think this break in December is going to give everybody a chance to kind of go home, ease up, relax, let this first half of the season go by, and now we all understand that. Because I think everybody understands that, you know, non-conference is important, but at the same time, like, you can go 0-for in non-conference and then win out in conference and have a great rest of your season. So, you know, we did okay through non-conference so far, but I think now it's time, like now everybody starts to understand, like, this is where March begins. Right, in January, March begins in January. It begins on January 1st at home against San Diego State. And that's where we have to make a statement and show everybody, like, you know, now we're turning that corner and we're finna give it our best shot to win the conference championship.
So Coach Williams just broke down the entire season, little film room with him, but his passion, his personality, it is so contagious.
It is, and he does enjoy talking about basketball, obviously, and he's listening, and he's one of those guys that he's a perfect example of somebody who's gotten better throughout the season, and as the group has. You know, we felt that we've played a little bit better continuously throughout this non-conference. So, but I think Donovan is just a great example individually of that and how they've improved.
Yeah, I know he's excited to get back home to Texas. Royce is excited. All your guys are excited to get back home this week, but there is one more game before Christmas break. UNLV is getting ready to host a 7-5 USD team on Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. The Red and Rebels looking to close out non-conference play with 4 straight wins. We'll break down the Toreros with Coach next.
You're watching the RebZone Sports Show on Fox 5.
One last non-conference game remaining. UNLV wraps up their non-conference schedule on Wednesday night at 7 o'clock when they host a 7-5 USD team coming off 3 straight wins. USD took down NAU last night 69-59 and were led by Marcellus Earlington, who recorded a double-double for the second consecutive game, finishing the night with 22 points and 11 rebounds. 7 o'clock tip-off on Wednesday night. I hope to see you guys there. UNLV will be looking to win 4 straight. Welcoming back Coach Cougar into the studio, and I have your schedule just the past couple of weeks up. I just want to point out the 3 losses and then the 3 wins and how your team has responded this December.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we've talked about a bunch, a very difficult schedule. And, UCLA at SMU at San Francisco, 3 likely NCAA tournament teams, not easy. But the guys bouncing back and having a great showing against Seattle, Hartford, Omaha, proud of them for dusting themselves off and getting back out there, playing hard, and still not even being at home for Seattle and Hartford. But, playing in Vegas was good for them, and they're having fun.
How big is this win right here before Christmas?
It'd be huge for us. Again, to keep the momentum, keep the confidence going and building, and playing in the Thomas and Mack just as a nice closure to the non-conference schedule.
And as your guys go home for Christmas and be able to see their family for a few days, is it good for guys to go home and see their family and kind of get that little reset button? Oh,
absolutely, absolutely. Especially with the schedule the way it is now. It's from June 1. They get a couple days to go home before school starts, but it's a grind in the fall, in the preseason for basketball. So to get these couple days, go back home, reset, recharge, and then we're not playing until the 1st either. It gives us a handful of days after Christmas to get back and prepare.
And then it's foot on the gas, January 1st, San Diego State. Coach, for you personally, is it good for you to have a little break too, just to spend time with some family?
I think it is, and for everybody. Everybody down, LV in strength and conditioning, Brian Lindell in training. I think it's just good for everybody to be able to get a couple days, have no required time they have to spend on the job, and just kind of refresh.
Has there been kind of a nice break this week with practice? How do you want your guys to just lock in and focus and finish on top for this last game? Yeah,
not having a game this weekend it allowed us to have some guys get a little extra time in treatment and get back healthy. Able to do a little more skill development instead of game prep, not having a game Saturday. So a great few days of work that we got in, and now going tomorrow, getting ready for San Diego. We'll be back to what we'd kind of been doing up until this last weekend.
All right, Coach, 1 game before Christmas. Hope to see you guys there on Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. Coming up next, we're taking a look at who signed with UNLV on early signing day this week. Coach Arroyo inked 10 new Rebels. We'll introduce all 10 of them coming up next.
You're watching the RebZone Sports Show on Fox 5.
UNLV football welcomed the first wave of their 2022 class on Wednesday. Coach Arroyo is very fired up this week to welcome 10 student athletes to his program. His first group of guys consists of 6 high school players, 3 JUCO transfers, and 1 player from a 4-year school. According to 24/7 Sports, this early group features both the highest rated high school wide receiver and high school quarterback in UNLV history since the introductory of the recruiting star system. Shall we check out who these guys are? Let's start with UNLV's 2 local signees. The Rebels are adding another Hawaiian quarterback to their roster. Jaden Maiava from Liberty High School, a 6'4", 205-pound freshman originally from Honolulu. In 2019, he threw for 3,317 yards and 41 touchdowns at Kaimuki High School. Coach Arroyo says he's a guy with length, arm talent, accuracy, and has a natural flick out of his hand. From Coronado High School, the Rebels are welcoming Noah Mckinney, a 6'5", 290 offensive tackle. Mckinney is originally from Texas. His brother plays safety at Michigan State, and his stepdad played 13 seasons in the NBA. Coach says he's got good range, second-level ability, good feet, growth potential. Staying on offense, welcome Randy Bobo Masters, a 6'1", 175-pound wide receiver from Houston. Bobo had at least 16 FBS offers, including offers from Auburn, Arkansas, Baylor, Florida, LSU, Oregon, Ole Miss, and Tennessee. Coach Arroyo liked that he played basketball in high school. and went to go see him play and move on the basketball court with a ball in his hand. Coach says he plays much bigger than 175. The other wide receiver who signed this week is Jeff Weimer. Coach Arroyo raved about this senior transfer from City College of San Francisco. Weimer is rated a 3-star JUCO prospect by 24/7 Sports and ESPN, ranked the number 7 junior college wide receiver in the nation and number 5 overall junior college recruit from the state of California. Coach says Weimer is an ultra competitor. He's one of the top 2 most competitive guys in this group. Let's move over to defense. The Rebels have signed Fisher Kamak, a 6'7", 230-pound outside linebacker from Gilbert, Arizona. Played defensive end and tight end in high school. At 6'7", Coach says he likes his length and his leverage, and he's excited about his ability to play on the edge. Next up, Anthony Costanzo, a 6'3", 210 safety coming from Monument, Colorado. Ranked as the number 7 overall prospect in the state of Colorado by ESPN. He had offers from Colorado and Colorado State. Coach Arroyo liked that he played wide receiver in high school, and he also likes his physicality. Next is Darius Johnson, a 6'3", 290-pound senior transfer from Garden City Community College, one of 3 JUCO transfers in this class. Coach Arroyo really liked that he wrestled in high school. He has good body control, good leverage, does well with his hands, ability to move around in tight spaces. Coach Arroyo says he's excited about Johnson and that he's as strong as an ox. And last of the JUCO transfers is Fred Tompkins, a 6', 235-pound inside linebacker from City College of San Francisco. Tompkins is ranked as the number 35 overall junior college recruit in the nation by 24/7 Sports. His physicality on tape is what really impressed Coach Arroyo. Next is Isaiah Sales, a 6'3", 230-pound outside linebacker, the only signee from a 4-year college. Sales is coming from Missouri State, where he started all 10 games this past season, helping the Bears reach the first round of the FCS playoffs. Coach likes that he's an older guy, bringing more maturity to the defense and more maturity to the edge. And last but not least, Tanner Salisbury, a 6'1", 200-pound inside linebacker from Danville, California. He played football at Mater Dei and San Ramon Valley High School. According to ESPN, he's number 79 prospect in the state of California and number 83 linebacker in the nation. Salisbury is one of 4 linebackers in the first wave of guys. Coach Arroyo shares more about his 2022 class.
With this group you're about to hear, there's an 85-22 record in this signing class, okay? This group's coming from an 80% winning clip. There's a bunch of guys who know and have been in locker rooms, have been on teams who know how to win. There is a culture about that. There's a trait about that. When you come from winning programs and you go to national championships or you go to state championships or you go to deep into the playoffs and you get used to that, there's a certain amount of innate wanting and willing and understanding that then gets carried on to wherever you go, albeit football, albeit into a business, home, church. There's traits that inherently follow you. This group now with an 85-22 record was important for us to understand. These guys understand and are part of winning places, and that was a piece that we liked. It was a good asterisk for us statistically.
Well, that was a lot of guys to get through. We'll get through 15 more in February. See you guys on Wednesday night at the Thomas and Mack. Have a great week.